So 3.5 focuses, actually, I'm going to talk about something. So there are De Morgan's laws and truth tables. If you've never heard of these, that's okay. I may cover them soon, but you're not going to see them in this video. You're not going to see them in my whole Unit 3 review video, or if you're watching the individual one, you're not going to see them. So that's just a thing that I kind of want to point out. Just has to feel like a little bit of a FYI. Okay, so let's move into 3.5 now, which is on nested if statements, which kind of sounds really, really cool. Nested if statements consist of if statements inside of if statements. so it's a little tricky. Let's do an example. Let's continue off what we were doing earlier. So if C is less than 0, we're going to put curly braces, make our life a little bit easier. It's going to run another if statement that says if C remainder of 2 is equal to 0. So if C divided by 2 has a remainder of 0, this is where you kind of really want to start using braces. It makes life a little bit easier. Then it's going to print out C is a negative even number. And then else if, actually we'll just do an else. If else C divided by 2 has a remainder of 1 or higher, then all it's going to do is it's going to print out C is a negative odd number. There we go. So we just have our first if statement. So it's going to run, and if it's less than 0, it's going to do all this. But if we run our code, C is not less than 0, so it's not going to print anything. So we have to write another else if statement now. So let's do else if C is greater than 0, curly braces. It's going to run an if statement and kind of do the same thing as before. If C, if C remainder is equal to 0, when we divide it by 2, we have a remainder of 0. Then it's going to print out C is a positive even number. C is a positive even number. Yay! And then we can run an else statement in case this is not the case. C is a positive odd number. And then what it's going to do now is that it's going to just run and see if it's a positive odd number. So let's run all of our code now. So is C less than 0? No. Is else if C greater than 0? Yes. If C divided by 2 has a remainder of 0, it's going to write if C is an even number. That's not the case, so it has a remainder of 1 when we divide it by 2. So it's going to print out C is a positive odd number when we run our code one of these days. So yeah, see, now it's going to print out C as a positive odd number. So let's do a little bit more tricky stuff. Yes, exciting. Alright, so what we're going to do is we will, you know what, we'll just remove all of this, and we're going to do some tricky stuff. So I'm just going to write it out, and I want you to write it out as well, and maybe write it on paper, because you're going to do FRQs one day. And then I want you to determine if the statement is true or not. So if C less than 0, if C is less than 0, and now what is this and stuff I'm doing? When we do and, we're gonna write two and symbols. So you hit Shift 7, you're gonna write the and statements. And the logical operators not, and or are used with Boolean values, and this represents the order these operators will be valued. Now, when the result of a logical expression using and or can be determined by valuing only the first Boolean operand, the second is not evaluated, and this is known as a short circuit evaluation. So I'll show you what this means. So if C is less than 0 and C divided by 2 has a remainder of 0, then we're going to print out C is a positive even number. Even number. Good job. Okay. Now let's do an else if C less than 0 and C is not, we're going to put our not there like we did earlier, not before our parentheses, our condition, C is not having a remainder of 0 when it's divided by 2, then it's going to print out C is a negative. I put positive up here, so C is a negative odd number. Let's write another one. If C is greater than 0 and it is C divided by 2 has a remainder of 0, then it's going to print out C is a positive even number. And let's write an else statement, and it's just going to say C is a positive odd number. Great, exciting, I know. So let's run our code. Is C less than 0? No, so it's not even going to read the next thing. Why am I getting an issue? Printing out an else if. Why is it doing this? Else without if. Oh, I have the semicolon after my else if statements. You cannot have semicolons after your else if statements or your if statements or your else. So yeah. So let's compare how C is a positive odd number because it's going to look at if. So if C is less than 0 and this. So it's just going to look at the C is less than 0. If C is less than 0, no. It's not even going to look at the next one. That's a short circuit evaluation because it's just going to read the first one, determine that it's false, read the AND logical operator, and not even read the next one. Else if C is less than 0 and, nope, it's going to move on to the next one because C is not less than 0. Alright, else if C is greater than 0. Yes, that is true. And C divided by 2 has a remainder of 0. No, that is not true. So both the conditions for an AND have to be true for it to run. Now let's move on to our else statement, which is the only one left with no condition, and then it's going to print out C as a positive odd number, and that is what we got in our print statement. Very, very cool. Let's do some more practice. We'll just remove this one again, and we'll do some other logical operators because we've only used 2 of them. If we'll do a Boolean thing. Boolean. Oh my gosh, Boolean. I'm not spelling Boolean right. Boolean valid is equal to true. If valid is equal to true, and C is greater than 5, or C is greater than 10, and valid is equal to true, then it's going to print out valid. Now, I put a lot of conditions here. Let's just see what happens when we run this. And I'm going to let you do some practice after this one because I'm sure your eyes are like, what is this right now? So, let's see. Okay, so it's not true. So it's not printing out valid. Okay. So let's look at this one by one. So, if valid is equal to true. Alright, valid is equal to true. So let's move on to the next one. And C is greater than 5. It's going to look at that. Nope, it's not greater than 5. However, we have the OR. And with an OR, only one of the conditions has to be true. But in this case, it's a set of conditions. So this first set of conditions has to be true, or this set has to be true for this code to run. So let's see. If C is greater than 10, no, it's not. So it's not even going to read the next AND, so it's not going to print it out. What if we did if C is equal to 5 and valid is equal to true? So let's run this statement again and see what happens. It's going to print out valid because our second set of conditions is true. And with an OR operator, only one set has to be true. What if we did valid is equal to true, and then we do OR C is less than 0 and valid is equal to false? What would it print out? Well, it's going to read our first 2 sets of OR statements and see that they're not correct. So then it's going to go to our third one, or C is less than 0. That is not true, so it's not going to read our next if statement. So it is going to return false. So yeah, that's what's going to happen. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of practice now. I'm going to put some code up on the screen. I want you to determine what's going to print out when I run it. So yeah, let me put it up there real quick. Okay, so here is a brand new set of code, and I'm just going to run through the variables real quick, and then we'll go through our conditions, and I want you to determine if it's going to return, well, it's going to print out one of these four, but you're going to tell me which one it's going to print out. So it's kind of like a multiple choice question. So we have Boolean A, which is equal to true, Boolean B, which is equal to false, Boolean C, which is equal to B, and then B is equal to C. Now you can basically ignore line 7 because B is equal to C, and C is already equal to B, so that's just kind of there to throw you off. Alright, and then for this first if statement, I said A or B, and this is just it determining if A or B is equal to true. I didn't cover that before, so that's just something to point out. Okay, let's let you go through this, and I want you to tell me what it's going to print out. Alright, so hopefully you've gone through this, and let's see what's going to happen. So let's go through our first if statement. We have to go from top to bottom. So if A or B is equal to true, A is equal to true, so it's going to go into our if or else if statements. If B is equal to true, or A is equal to C, prints out valid. So is B equal to true? No, but we do have the ors here. So if A is equal to C, is A equal to C? No. C is equal to false, and A is equal to true, so it's not going to be valid. Let's go to our else if. If B is true, else if not B, if B is not false, and A or B. So this is a little confusing. So is A true? Yes. So it's not going to run B. A is equal to true. So A or B is A. So if not B is and true is what it's basically. It's a little confusing. So I'll comment this. So if not B and true, because A is equal to true. B is false, but it's have the not statement here. So if B, if true, and true. So it is going to be true. This whole expression is going to be true right here. So it's going to print out not valid. Now let's go through these next ones and determine why they're not going to print out. So if B is equal to true, or A and C, but it's going to be not. So let's see what this would do. So is B equal to true? No. However, we have to do the or. Is A equal to true? No. Yes. Is C equal to true? No. So this and statement's not going to work. So this is going to be false, but it's going to return true because of the not operator. So it could print out maybe valid, but it's not going to because not valid is true. And then the next one, if not B, so it's going to be true because B is false, so not B would be true, or A and B, that's going to be, false, because A and B are not both true. So it's still going to print out true because of the or operator. So both these conditions are actually true. But this first one comes first, so it's going to print out not valid when I run my code. Now, if you're still confused with it, which you probably are, I want you to go in and really practice doing this and just write tons of code, analyzing Booleans, and all of that. And then the last thing I really just want to cover is with objects. In comparing objects. So 3.7. I'm just going to do this really, really quickly. So we're going to do a string object. We're going to call it A, and it's equal to new string. We learned this in Unit 2. We're just going to call it, I'll just do Eason. Why not? And then string B is going to be equal to A. Actually, no. We have to do new string A. And then what it's going to do is if A dot equals B, we can use the equal method because we're using objects. So often classes have their own equals method, which can be used to determine whether two objects of a class are equivalent. So we're using the string class, and these two are objects. A and B are our objects. So if A is equal to B, it's going to print out line same. And then if this is not true, it's going to print out different. So we're comparing our objects. A is equal to B because B has the value of A, so it's going to print out same. So that's how you just compare objects. And two object references are considered aliases when they both reference the same object. Kind of weird, I know. So yeah, that is 3.7. And that is Unit 3 for Computer Science A. It's actually a pretty easy unit. Kind of short compared to Unit 2, which had so much just different stuff in it. So yeah, I do have a Unit 3 practice test, which should be up by the time this video is up, which is pretty simple and straightforward with MCQs and FRQs. There's an answer key for it and all that cool stuff. So go check that out. The link's in the description down below. Please like and subscribe. It's free. It really does help me out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.